Hey, good morning, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad. Here's an update on Hurricane Maria, which is barely a hurricane right now, and that really doesn't matter. Whether it's a strong tropical storm or hurricane, the winds aren't going to be the biggest issue with Maria. It's going to be all about storm surge, and that's our biggest concern, especially for the Outer Banks. Here's the satellite and radar loop. You can see not a ton of rain. This is not going to produce a lot of rain. There will be squalls and showers moving through from time to time, but this isn't going to be a big rainmaker because the system is actually disorganized. The circulation center, or the middle, is not really looking all that organized. You can actually tell it's kind of being pushed off. All the deeper thunderstorms, or convection we like to call it, is being pushed off in this direction, kind of naked on this side. There's actually breaks in the clouds and very few showers on the west side. But the wind field is huge. The wind radii is absolutely gigantic. It extends well off towards the west and northwest, and I'm going to put those wind radii on here so you can see those real quickly. The hurricane force winds are in this area right here, if there's any left, but hurricane hunters couldn't find any. Then you get to the 60-mile-per-hour winds, around 58 miles per hour right there, and then this is the tropical storm force winds of 39 or 40 miles an hour. Most people round it up to 40, but you can see that's already impacting the Outer Banks with those strong and northeast winds right now, and I'll show you those winds. This is the wind field associated with the storm right now, and you can see the strongest winds are near the center and just to the east. But as you get closer to the eye, which is not even there anymore, the winds are much lighter. But look where the strongest winds are, right in this little corridor right here, and then a big corridor right in here. But this is the problem. We've got 20 to 30 and 40 mile an hour winds continuously pushing water towards the coast, which is causing basically all the storm surge issues. So there was a storm surge watch in effect for most of the Outer Banks. This is going to be upgraded to a storm surge warning because we're likely going to see surge of around 2 to 4 feet on the ocean side of the Outer Banks, and then in the sounds, Pamlico Sound and the southern part of the Albemarle Sound, we're likely going to see maybe surge up to 1 to 3 inch, so 3 feet, excuse me. So we're going to see a couple waves of surge in this area, just to show you what it looks like out there right now. I got the Nag's Head Fishing Pier camera, and you can see how big the waves are. I mean, these are huge rollers coming in. They're probably about 10 to 12 feet moving in towards the coast already, and they're just going to get bigger as the day goes on. Remember, the storm surge doesn't even account for these waves that are moving in. Here's a DOT camera on Highway 12. This is just south of the Bonner Bridge. You can see they put that big berm right in here to help block some of the water, but we're already getting some water coming through and showing up in some locations. So this will be an area we'll watch. Highway 12 is likely going to be overwashed just because the water is so low in that area. Let me show you some of the storm surge predictions on the ocean side. You can see probably going to get up there later today into tonight. High tide later tonight is going to be the big one overnight into Wednesday morning. And again, this doesn't account for waves on top of it, maybe close to 3 feet in some of these locations. This is the Oregon Inlet Marina location. You can see they're actually going to see lowering initially because it's on the sound side. What's going to be interesting is the sound side in the northern Outer Banks, the water is going to be pushing south. That's why you see areas right there near like Gum Neck and then down towards Cedar Island. The water in the sound will be pushed here. So water on this side will be low. Water on this side is going to be high. So depending on what side of the Outer Banks you're on and whether or not you're on the windward or leeward side, you're going to see high water. This is down towards Ocracoke. This is on the sound side. You can see the water level getting close to 2 feet above mean sea level. Now remember, this doesn't account for the waves. If there's 5, 6, 7 foot waves on top of this, that could make it even higher. We'll go down towards Hatteras, and you can see they're already going higher than the forecast, so this could be even higher, maybe 3 or 4 feet down in that area. So you kind of get the idea on why this is going to be such a big event on the Outer Banks. Even though the winds aren't going to be huge, it's all about the water that this huge circulation is pushing. This water is getting pushed in like this, and that's what's causing all the problems there on the Outer Banks. And so just to kind of show you how the winds are going to look in this, we'll show you real quickly the wind field here from the short range models. And you can see, look at the strongest winds staying offshore, but look what happens later tonight. This is 8 p.m. We'll go into the overnight hours. Now we'll get to about 2 o'clock in the morning. You could see right there the strongest winds around 50, 60 miles an hour touching the Outer Banks. But notice the whole time, look at the wind field out here. I mean, this whole thing is pushing water towards the coast. So this is what this is the problem. You think all those strong winds are offshore, but because they're offshore, they're actually pushing water back towards the coast, and that's what's going to lead to the storm surge. As we go through tomorrow, the winds and surge will start to go down a little bit. They'll watch the sound side on the backside, because sometimes the water will come back up as the winds switch offshore, and then the water gets pushed towards the sound side of the Outer Banks. And it really won't be until Thursday morning that things start to calm down as the system moves away. So there's a system right now. You can see it's a massive system. The wind field is absolutely huge. So even if you see that track offshore, don't get caught up in where the center is. It's about these impacts on the Outer Banks, and you could see those impacts already being felt there. In fact, let me show you real quickly the wind gust in the last hour. You can see we've had a 32-mile-per-hour wind gust at Hatteras, and it looks like down here in eastern Carteret County, we've had a wind gust up to 36. Morehead City's already had a gust of 30. Havelock has already had one to about 31. So Emerald Isle, 31. So really strong winds already associated with this system, even though it's pretty far to the east. So on the Outer Banks, be prepared for storm surge. That is your biggest concern as we go into tonight and tomorrow. The worst of it is tonight and early tomorrow. Watch the high tides in the next 24 hours. Each one's going to get higher and higher. So even if you see low tide and the water goes down a little bit, be prepared. The next high tide is probably going to come up even higher than the previous one. Of course, I'll have complete updates all day long on Facebook and Twitter, and you can watch me on NBC Charlotte starting today at 4, 5, and 6. In fact, we've got a reporter out there right now, Evan West. He was at Avon Bridge, this morning. He's pushing south. He's going to try to get close to Hatteras and Ocracoke, and we'll have live reports starting later today.